All right. I'm sure most people that see this will probably wonder why, you know, it's on this note here. Pardon me for the way I'm talking right now. I'm actually partially sleepy and, excuse me, decided I wanted to make a little, short video. At least I hope it'll be short. Anyway, the main reason I'm on this is because, for probably, I want to say 7 or so years, I have been, going back and forth on this idea of starting my own game company, uh, and also creating my own game system. Now, I have come up with a couple of ideas for video games, but over the years, I've been changing up a lot of things as far as they go. And with three of the games, I actually need to write a book first, or write a story before I actually make the games, because the games are supposed to be based off things in my literary universe. Um, but the one thing I realized, you know, over time as I've been working on this, is that I really am just not, concerned with making something that all gamers will be into, for lack of a better way to put it. Gaming is not exactly important to me, I won't even say not exactly, it's just not important to me. There are games that I like, games that I love, things that I actually have put a lot of time into. But for the most part, I don't put the same time into them that other people do. Like, I'm not concerned with trying to get this trophy and that trophy. I'm not concerned with, honestly, I'm not even really concerned with getting better at a lot of video games. Like, I get, I hate I have to say this, but I get good enough uh, that, I can make it through the game, like with Borderlands. I'm not really aiming to just be top tier as far as playing that game goes. I'm good enough that I can get through whatever fights I need to get through. I can clear areas and everything, and I'm all good. It's not, it's never been a thing of mine where I've really cared about gaming in that type of way. Like, honestly, if I can find a way to cheat on a game, I will. That's the way I've always been. If I can find a way to cheat, then I will. I'll cheat on it. And that's why, I really love the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 so much, especially the PS2. Simply because, back when I was working and I was buying games, I was mostly buying old games. And I know a lot of people used to keep asking me, why you keep buying those old games, Why don't you, just save up your money and get a new game system? But see, a lot of new games didn't interest me that much. Like, even after I got, like, the PS3 and even later on getting the PS4, there were still very few games that I wanted and liked. Like, I've mostly been stuck on, like, the Watch Dogs series, Borderlands. I got into a few Call of Duty games, and then I got into some other series. Of course, I've always been a fan of GTA, but I still prefer the older GTA games. Only thing is I can't play those the way I used to, mostly because of the graphics. And I really hate to say that because I love a lot of old games and graphics really don't bother me that much. But for some reason, when trying to play the old GTA games, I get like extreme headaches. And I really don't know if it's because of the graphics or if it's because of the TV. So, like having my PS2 or having my computer hooked up to my TV is not the same as, well, having it hooked up to this flat screen. It's not the same as when I had it hooked up to the regular old rabbit ears TV. So, that's another thing I believe that really, really bothers me. Because I had gotten a new PS2 probably 5 years ago. I want to say yeah, 5 years ago. And man, I was so fucking happy when I got that thing. And I played every game that I had been wanting to play, because like I've been through like four PS2s over the years. Like two of them I bought within the same year. Um, and I don't really know. Well, I won't say I don't know what messed them up. I assume that they ended up going bad because they're used. Because both of them were used. But the one before that lasted me a good minute. I bought it in 2011, and I had that thing for years. Um, but like come 2014, something happened, and it just didn't want to work anymore. And so I had to turn around and buy another one. And then when I bought that one, it went bad. Then I bought a third one, and that one went bad. And I was like, what the fuck? And I couldn't get my money back. The thing I really wanted to do was try to get one of them repaired if I could. Because I would really like to buy a brand new PS2 or a refurbished one. Because, like, there are some online that they claim are brand new, I guess from the factory, never been opened. But they cost so much. I think they want like $700 or some shit. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like I would really like one, but I don't know if I want to put out $700. I mean, it's worth it in a sense, especially with all the games that I have on PS2, because that's where I mostly have a lot of my games at. PS2. I got some PlayStation games, but my PlayStation games are very small in number, simply because a lot of the games I wanted I couldn't find, or just like trying to get another PS2. The PlayStation games were very expensive. Like when I ran across Fighting Force, um, I loved playing that game when I was a kid. But when I ran across it, I think it might have been like $37 or $40, and I guess you could say that's like pretty standard as far as I guess price of the game would go. But for something that was old and that was used, I wasn't expecting to pay $40 for it. I mean, good game, but I still didn't want to pay $40 for it, you know. But every other subsequent game I looked up just cost more and more. It might be much lower now, but at the time when I first was trying to get it, the lowest one was $40. Everything else was like 70, 80, 100. Like somebody had one for $120. Was not a special edition or nothing like that. That's just how much they were selling it for. And I don't know if it ever got bought. Probably not. And then again, it might have been some sucker. But yeah, so my main point is that, when I had, when I was playing my PS2, one of the main things I was using was my action replay disc. I love that thing, and it allowed me to unlock so much stuff on certain games. Like there's one game that is like my favorite over all PS2 games, and I know a lot of people who have never heard of it, and people who have heard of it would probably be like, "You're crazy. There are so many better games." And there are. There's a lot of better games than this game, but this game is fun for me, and it's fun due to a certain time in my life when I was playing it, and a lot of good things were happening. But there's a game called Metal Saga, and it's part of the Metal Max series. But Metal Saga is one of those games that I've probably started it over at least 7 times, and I can play it with no problems, no matter how many times I start it over. And I loved using the action replay disc with it though, because a lot of the bosses on there were incredibly difficult to beat when you run into them early in the game. Like you would have to be running around the game for a good amount of time before you could really beat any of the wanted criminals and stuff that you're going after, the like bandits or whatever. Um, you would probably like for some of them, because I remember looking it up on the internet, and they were like, to beat this bandit you got to be like level 100 something. I was like, no wonder I was dying, because I was only like level 40. And so me and my team go there and instantly get whooped, even though we inside tanks. So I used the action replay disc, and that got me leveled up pretty fast. And so I was around there just laying waste to everybody, like one hit, and that was it. Well, for some of them, for the Daidarabachi, I think that's how you pronounce it. That thing was pretty difficult to beat. But like the other thing I hated about some of the villains on the game, or whatever you want to call them, the bad guys, it wasn't what I hated about them. It was more so what I hated about the design. Like some of the monsters were so huge that you actually couldn't see them on the screen. So like even when I had my game hooked up to the flat screen, I still couldn't see a lot of the enemies. And like maybe they were meant to be designed that way just to show you how huge they were, but it kind of destroyed it. Like I'm fighting this big ass creature made out of fire, and a lot of the times all I can see are his feet and his hands. Like every now and then he'll bend over and you can see his face. I just bent over for some fucking reason. Um but anyway, every now and then he'll bend over and you can see his face. But a lot of the times it was just he would do a hand swiping motion and it would swipe across every last, person you got on your team. Or he would do a stumping motion and he would choose which one of, the characters he was gonna stump. And that stump was pretty devastating before I started using the action replay disc. That stump would take us out like in one hit, even if you inside the tank. Because I remember the tank getting destroyed and dying at the same time. And I was like, man, it's fucked up. But, for me, using the action replay disc does not destroy the gameplay. A lot of people, they don't like, using cheats and stuff like that because they feel like it destroys, the feeling of the game and all of that. That is not how I feel. For me, the best feeling is when I'm using the action replay disc. And I loved using it on that game. I used it on Eternal Poison. I was able to use it on GTA Vice City. The Rise of Kasai, I think that's what that game was called. I was able to use it on Chaos Legion. I tried to use it on Xenosaga, but it didn't come out right. Like the minute I was getting ready to go to this next level or next chapter, the game froze. And so when I went back, like all of the progress I had made apparently didn't save. And I don't know if it was because of me using the cheats or what. But it made it where I couldn't get past this one particular level without removing all of the cheats and stuff. And like the cheats for Xenosaga actually didn't make the game, easier, I guess you could say. I mostly used cheats to give me a bunch of items and give me a lot of money. That's what I used those cheats for. And honestly, I guess you could say it was redundant, or pointless to have a whole lot of money when I already had all the items that I needed. But due to the fact that I had so many items, it fucked the game up. It did the same thing with Kingdom Hearts. I had added all the items that you would ever need to my inventory, and that made the game freeze. The only thing is that with Kingdom Hearts, it didn't, erase all of my progress. It's just that I could never get past this one fight simply because I had all these items. And so that's why I never went back to Kingdom Hearts. I could also use the action replay disc on Dirge of Cerberus. There's a few other games that I just can't seem to think of right now, and I don't know why. But a lot of different games I could use it on. And there were some games that it didn't work on at all. Like a lot of my Mana Khemia games, it wouldn't work on. Like the one that it did work on, it made the game glitch. And like if it made that game glitch so hard that I would walk off the level and just end up walking into nothing but a whole bunch of blueness and shit like that. And then once I walked off into that, I couldn't get back to the regular level. Like I would try to walk around and get back down there. I would actually try to go back the way that I went, and it wouldn't do anything but just make me walk into more blueness, or either it would make me walk over the whole town instead of taking me back into town. It would just have me in the sky. And so because of that, I never went back to playing that game because I wanted to play it using the action replay disc, and I couldn't do that because it glitched the game up something awful. Now, and that wasn't Manakimia. That was Atelier Iris. That's what that was. The Manakimia game, or Manakimia, I forgot how to pronounce it. It wouldn't work on that one at all. Like it wouldn't even bring up anything. So I had to just play that game the way I'd always been playing it. But, oh, my bad. I know I've been talking a long time. Yeah, almost 16 minutes. But anyway, yeah, with the Mana Kimia game, I was fine with not having, using the action replay disc on that one. I could still play that with no issues. I knew how to play it after so many years. I mean, all the games I had, I knew how to play. I just like to cheat on some of them. That's all. I had no fucking problem doing that. But with the Atelier Iris games, the only one it worked on was Atelier Iris 2, the Azoth of Destiny. That's the only one it would work properly with. But the first game, it wouldn't work properly at all. And I hated that. But my main reason for bringing up the action replay disc is because, like I said, I want to see the action replay disc come back or make something similar. And so that's what I've been wanting to do as far as my games and game company go. I've been wanting to have something similar to an action replay disc and have a bunch of stuff that you can unlock using that. Like, when you, because pretty much using the action replay disc is pretty much debugging the game in a sense. That's what it is for. That's the best way I can describe it anyway. It's like you debugging the game or something. But that's what I want to do. I want to, like bring that back. I want to go back to, like I said, to the action replay disc. I want to go back to the Game Sharks, Game Genies. I know Game Genie is real old. Showing my age on that one. Showing my age on all this shit. Because I know a bunch of people who probably don't even know what the fuck any of this is. They don't know what a action replay disc is. They don't know what Game Shark or Game Genie. Or Code Breaker. I used to think action replay disc and Code Breaker were the same thing. But I believe they are two separate type of discs, I think. I have to go back and check. I have to find my disc and look at it. Because I don't know if it had Code Breaker action replay on there or if it just had action replay. But either way it go, I love using that thing. And I would love to see that come back. Like, I remember reading that they had made one for the PS3, but it didn't do right. And I guess it's because of the way they had the PS3 designed. That it really couldn't work with any of the PS3 games that it was supposed to work with. And I think it was messing up people's PS3s. And I think that was the last time an action replay disc had ever came out. I believe it was action replay. I got to go back and look that up because I almost bought it up until I did a Google search and a bunch of people were talking about how it didn't work. And I was like, fuck, I almost bought this thing. Because I mainly was trying to unlock a bunch of stuff that I couldn't get through regular gameplay on GTA 5. And I was like, fuck, But yeah, with my games, I want to have that. I want to have an action replay disc. I want to, and I also want to eliminate, DLC as much as possible. Like, there might be a few things I might be willing to make into DLC, but I don't want it to be anything that you could, get through regular gameplay. Like, I want to make sure everything that you can achieve, or, obtain through the game is obtained through the game. Not by you buying some DLC or buying some, bullshit add-on, that you got to pay like $20 or $30 for. I want to eliminate all of that. But I also don't want my games to be extremely, expensive. I couldn't think of the word. I don't want my games to be extremely expensive. I don't want the game system to be extremely expensive. But I understand that I can't make it too cheap. Like if I could just make it like, $300, $400 or something like that, because that's expensive, but it's not real expensive, especially not nowadays. But I mean, anything is expensive when you ain't got the money. Like hell, $100 is expensive to me. Shit, $50 expensive to me. That's why I'm always looking for deals. Like when it comes to any game, if I can find like, especially an old game, if I can find it for like $4, I buy it. Even if they tell you on Amazon it's missing the game manual or it's missing the original artwork, I'm like, fuck it. As long as I get the game and the game work, that's all I need. Now, there have been times where I've bought stuff like that and the games have been like kind of fucked up. Like I bought Midnight Club for PS2 a long time ago, have never been able to play it. Disc is so fucking scratched up, man. I was so pissed off because the guy on Amazon never did say it had that many scratches. Like he said it had light scratches. That's what he said. And so I was like, okay, I can fuck with that. Because it's not like I never had games with scratches on them and had to, kind of do what I did, while playing it. So I was like, all right, I can fuck with that. Light scratches is cool. I get this thing, it's heavy scratches. Them ain't no fucking light scratches. It's like somebody took claws right across, the disc and said, fuck this game. Luckily, all I paid for it was like, I think $5 or $6, but that was still $5 or $6 I could have still had, paying that and somebody didn't scratch this fucking disc up. But, that's another story. And I don't really want to go into that, but like I said, my main thing is that I just want to make some games that, don't really require a whole lot of effort, unless you want it to be. Like, I want to have a very relaxed difficulty setting, I guess you could say. Like if people want to play it on an extremely hard level, they can. But if you somebody who's real casual, and you're not trying to play a game that's extremely difficult, I want to have that option, for you as well, or whoever. I don't want to be out here trying to make, From Software type games. Like, I might be inclined, like I said, to include a difficulty setting like that. But I would like to say that the default setting would be the relaxed setting. That's what it would be. Because these would be games that would be mainly for people who are not trying to be elite gamers or some shit like that. These are just for people who just want to play a game, enjoy the design, the story, and not really have to do too much or even think too much, That's what I want to do, Like me, myself, when it comes to playing a game, I think a lot. And sometimes I end up doing opposite, of what I intended to do. But at the same time, I know everybody is not like me. I'm not like everybody else, so, and I know that there is a market for people out there who are, casual gamers. I would prefer to make stuff for the casual gamer than for the gamer. That's my main thing. Like, I'm not too keen on gamers anyway. I don't really fuck with gamers like that. Outside of the few friends that I already have that are, hardcore gamers, I don't fuck with gamers. I'm not into the people that like to enter into like the fighting tournaments and shit. I won't say I'm not into the people, but I'm not into fucking with people like that. But I guess I can add that I'm not into those people when it comes to women that are like that. I'm really not into like the hardcore girl gamers. Like, I don't mind a girl playing video games, but the hardcore girl gamers just don't strike my fancy, for lack of a better way to put it, because I probably didn't say that right. But they just don't get me going like that, I would much rather a girl. Honestly, I'd much rather a girl that don't play games at all. That would be fine by me. But I'm not going to turn away a woman for playing video games. But I will admit that if I see that she's, real hardcore into games like that, then yeah, it's a no. Um, and some dudes like this shit. That's cool. But that's not me, especially nowadays. My days of being into that, I would say, are over. Like right now, there is only one woman that I would say gets a pass for that, and that I'm okay with, being that type of woman. But again, that's because me and her, we have history. We've been rocking, like that for a while. So, I ain't got no problem with her being in the games and everything, and really being serious about certain games. But any other woman, nah. I don't want to deal with in that type of way. But that's just a gripe, you know, and something I really didn't mean to rant about, but I guess I just had to get it out. But like I said, for me, I just want to make a game system and make games that are not something that are gonna have everybody being like, this is too difficult. Or like I said, or having people feeling like they're left out because they don't really care, to be that type of gamer. Like I said, some people just want to play a game. They just want to chill. They don't really want to do all this extra bullshit. Like I'm also not really wanting to do online type of stuff. Like I wouldn't mind doing multiplayer, but I want to make it where it's not online. I want to get people back into, like how when I was young, we had the multi-tap. There was one for the SNES. I think there was one for the PlayStation as well as the PS2. 64, you didn't have to worry about that because it had 4 different slots anyway. But I think it might have had an extra. I think it might have had another multi-tap type of thing because there were some games that would allow you to have like up to 6 players. And so I think 64 had another add-on like that. It's been so long. Like my brothers were the ones who had the 64, so and then a friend of mine had a 64 also. And when I was over at his house, it was really just me, him, and his brother playing. So we didn't really have to worry about nobody else. But sometimes when this other friend of his came, and he would play too. So it was 4 people, and we would be playing GoldenEye or playing Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was the main thing we would play. That was the main thing we would play. But like I said, I believe that there was a multi-tap for the 64, so that you could have the other like 2 or 4 players or some shit like that. Cause like I said, there were some games I think that would allow up to 8 players if I remember correctly. But I know, like I said, there was a multi-tap for the PlayStation, the PS2, and like I said, for earlier game systems, because I always wanted the one for the Super Nintendo. Because I forgot what game it was, but I had a game where I believe 4 people could play back then. I think it was Bomberman. And man, I always wished I could play Bomberman with my friends. But that was the type of shit I wanted to do. I wanted to do the type of shit where we could play the game all in one household. Like, it was fun playing the game like that. I mean, playing online is cool, because I had a whole lot of fun playing online with my ex-girlfriend. But there was nothing like being in the same room with each other when I was playing the game with my friends. And like if we was playing Digimon Rumble Arena or playing a Tekken game, playing Mortal Kombat, whatever, Soul Calibur, Outlaw Golf, like all the different games that we could play together, Super Smash Brothers, all this shit. The fun that we would have being in the room with each other. That was the thing that I really liked. And so I would like to bring that back as far as gaming goes, because I don't see that happening anymore. Everybody, and I know one thing is that a lot of people stay far away from each other. You got somebody that might stay here where I stay at in Tennessee, another person probably stay in Michigan, somebody stay in Texas, another in California. So yeah, people can't be in the same room with each other, and that's the reason why a lot of people play online as far as that goes. But I mean, when you got friends that you got that still stay in the same city that you stay in, I feel like it should be, well, I feel like if y'all can, carve out some time and meet up and hang out, then, should still be able to play the game, while everybody is all in the same room. Because, like I said, I don't really see where that's still available right now. Like, I've seen some people that are like roommates, but they all playing online though. They either playing on PC or they playing on their game system, and it's just everybody in their different room playing online. And I mean that's cool too, but I just miss the whole thing of just being right around each other and seeing the look on somebody's face when you probably do some shit that they didn't want you to do. You know, I'm getting close to that limit. So I'm gonna go end this. I had a whole lot more to say, but yeah, I just had to kind of rant and some other shit about gaming. I'll be back though. I'm out.